Hello and welcome back to another Outlook VBA tutorial. So in our last couple of videos, we were talking about the namespace object and the folder objects, and these were kind of introductions to the topic. So, maybe at some point we might go into more detail about how these objects work, but at this point we need to understand how to access them and really just kind of how to iterate through certain objects and things like that. In this video, though, we are going to be working with something that I'm sure a lot of you will probably want to work with, which is email items. So we want to see how we can use Outlook VBA to take our emails and get certain information from them. Maybe we want to get attachments. Maybe we want to get recipients. We want to get, the text body, things along that nature. How would we do that using Outlook VBA? Well, that's what we're going to be covering today. So with that being said, let's jump into our Visual Basic editor. It's just under your developer tab. Go here, Visual Basic. And then from here, you don't have to enable any libraries or anything like that. You will have to insert a module, obviously. But from here, what we'll do is work with emails. We're going to declare a couple object variables. So we declare our variables just like we always do. First one will be our Outlook item. This will be an object at this point. I am not defining what type of item it is. We'll see why in a second. The next one is going to be an Outlook mail item. This will be a mail item object, so a little bit more specific. I'm not just giving it any type of item. I'm specifying what type of item it is. It's a mail item or an email. Dim Outlook folder. This will be a folder object. We saw that in the last video. And we will also work with a namespace because remember, we have to access our namespace before we can get anything from it. That's kind of how we need to think about it. Okay, so from here, we're going to set our namespace, or we can call it grabbing it, whatever you want to define it as. We'll do our Outlook name equals our application object. I'm going to get my namespace method, and then I'm going to pass through my MAPI. That's our namespace. And then from here, we're going to define the folder we want to work with. Now, there's different folders that can contain emails, junk emails, send emails. There are draft emails. I want to work with my inbox. So we've seen this before, but we call our Outlook folder object. We go into our namespace, and then we call the get default folder method, and then we pass through the folder that we want. I want my inbox, so I call Outlook folder inbox. I close my brackets, good to go. If I wanted to, I can display my folder. I didn't show this in the last video, but that's okay. Outlook folder, and then I call the display method. So if I run it like this, bam, it just opens it up there right for me. I'm going to comment that out because I don't want it to keep popping up. And then from here, maybe I want to loop through all of the items in my particular inbox. So you can actually have different types of items in an inbox. You can have meeting invites, you can have emails. That's why I declared my object up here. I wasn't being very specific. I was being very broad because I was under the assumption that whatever's in here, there can be more than just email items. And so if there's more than just email items, I might have to be a little bit more careful when I'm looping through all the items. So if I wanted to loop through all the items in my folder, I would say for each item in Outlook folder.items, and sorry, I'm going to change this. I don't know why I didn't do it like that. Outlook item. I'm going to go to the next one, and let's just do something simple. Let's see if we can figure out. I'm going to try it. I haven't tried it with this one yet, but I don't know if it is going to have a name property. That's the problem. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, well, let's just do this. Let's just see if it's a mail item. So we'll check as we're looping if the item is a mail item, and if it is, let's print the subject line, right? So we'll just print the subject line. So if the item is a mail item, then do your thing, right? So we'll say if We'll call the type of, and then we'll call look item is mail item, then end if. So this is a wonderful little, I think it's a function if I remember correctly, wonderful little function where it's basically saying if the type of, basically returns the object type. So if the object type that I'm working with is a mail item, then take the look item, and we'll do debug print look item dot subject. We'll call the subject line. And so now I see all the subject lines. Bunch of junk. I mean, that's a receipt, so I guess it's not a junk. I get stuff from this alumni stuff all the time. It's ridiculous. I mean, sometimes it's interesting, but most of the time it's not. And then you can see purchases. I collect coins and currency. So I subscribe to what is it? The currency websites and stuff like that. It's fun. I mean, I love collecting currency. I also do a lot of international ones too. It's my little hobby I do on the side. In fact, actually next week I'm going to go to the coin shop in San Diego and see if they have some gold certificates. Those ones are cool. I love those ones. But yeah, I always get a bunch of emails from them. It's cool stuff though. I mean, I like it. Okay, so we saw how to loop through the items in a particular folder. You can't assume it's always going to be an email item, especially sometimes with the meeting stuff. That's where I ran into this problem. That's why I had to do this, because otherwise it would fail when I tried to loop. So I had to be a little bit more broad in what I was working with, but I could always just check the type of item I was working with. And as long as it met the conditions, then I could, call the properties basically. Now that's looping through it. In this example, if I want to grab a particular, a particular email, I can always just use the item method. And so for here, and what I'll do is I'll use the index method. So I'll say Outlook, folder, items, and then it's the fifth item. I think. Oh, let me check. I'm not positive. I'm not sure how they determine the where is it? Here it is. The items returns an specified in the folder. Use the index where the index is the name or the index number to return a single Outlook item. Note, the index of the item collection starts at 1, and the items are not guaranteed to be in any particular order. Well, that doesn't help a lot. So in other words, maybe not use that one. It looks like you can use the name, though. And so it looks like here they're using the subject line. So if you pass through the subject line, that's kind of like the key method, I guess, in a sense. But if not, you can also use the index method. So here, where is it? I'm using the index method. We'll try something in a second just to see what happens. But anywho, the email that I'm grabbing is my, I think it's this one. No, I think it's this one because this one has my attachment in it. So here we'll see that what is it? It's going to grab this email and then we can work with it and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the body format. So I'm going to grab the body format and I just want to see what kind of format it is. And I'm going to put that right down here and I'm going to say debug print look mail, and then I'm going to call the body format property. So it's 2. 2 is HTML format. I do have it here as notes for everybody in case you're wondering. So I'll put that on GitHub as well. What I might want to also do is I want to see the receive time. What time was it received? What time was the email received? Debug print look mail. And then we can call the received time property. I will comment this out so I don't keep, printing everything again. So it was received today at 4:17. The reason why is because I delete pretty much all my emails, and so I didn't have any that had an attachment, and so I had to send one that had an attachment, so that way we could show how to work with attachments. I know, never works the way you think it's gonna work. I can see who sent it, who sent the email. Debug print. Oh look, mail, and then maybe I want the sender. I can see the sender email address if I wanted to. Control J, sender email address. Sender's address. You can also see, is it unread? And then again, this would just be calling the unread property. Most of these are just properties, to be honest, but there's a lot of good information here if you start looking at it. So when was it sent? You can say debug print, oh look, mail, and then sent on. I'd be kind of curious to do like an analysis on this and see what the hell everything is. So we can print the email, body text. This is kind of cool too. This is an easy way to get all the body text. Again, you can put in Word document, whatever you want to do. So we'll do the email body. And so you can see here's the body text. It's all this crap. That's the sender. The sender's email address. Is it unread? No, because I've read it. And then the body text as well. Now, I am curious if I change this to, because they said if you put it as a subject line, it should be fine, right? You would think. I mean, I guess I could just check what the subject line is, but why make it easy? Okay, yeah, it works fine. So yeah, you can either put the subject line in there or you can put the index. So it's kind of up to you how you want to do it, but just decide kind of what works best for you. Let's also maybe, let's work with the attachment next. We'll do that one because I think that one's going to make a little bit more sense. I had some other stuff about recipients, but I don't think it's going to make a lot of sense at this point. So I'm going to try to find a better use case example and see kind of what that works. But anywho, if we want to work with an attachment, we should declare an attachment object. So define an attachment object variable, very straightforward. Dim, oh look, attachment as attachment object. We can grab an attachment item. That's really just grabbing your Outlook mail and then attachment. So we can say grab an attachment item. We'll set that Outlook attachment variable equal to our mail item. We'll go into our attachments, and then we'll go into our item, and it's the first item. This one I feel a little bit more comfortable using the index method because normally you can determine. But for demonstration purposes, let's just see what the attachments property requires us. Item, perfect. Returns an attachment object. Either the index number of the object or a value used to match the default property of an object in the collection. That doesn't tell me a lot. So it looks like it just takes the index method. It doesn't look like it takes kind of like a key method in a sense. Interesting. So now that we have the attachment, we can start getting some properties about it and things along that nature. So maybe, for example, I want to grab the file name or something like that, right? We'll just do that. So we'll say debug print, oh look, attachment file name. I can check the class type. It should return back a 5. That just means it's an attachment. Debug print Outlook attachment class. I can also do the display name. So debug dot print. Oh, geez. sorry, grab the display name. And then we'll do debug print outlook attachment. Might want the display name. I can grab grab the file size, debug print outlook attachment, and then I'll get the size. You can also see there's a save as method as well. So get the file type, debug print outlook attachment type, and then I guess we can try to save it. Outlook attachment, save as. We'll skip that. Well, no, that's fine. Hold on. I have to grab my file path. Well, I have to grab a file path. I'm curious to see if that one will work. I don't know if it will, to be honest. See, that's that little stupid character that throws everything off. Oh my god. Mail object item text. Mail object item dot text file. Save the file to a location. And then one final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to display the email. So display the email. So I'm going to say Outlook mail, and then I'm going to call the display method. Okay. And so let's see. The file name, the class type, so that's the attachment, the display name, the type, no, the file size, and the type. So that came back with a 1. 1 is the attachment is a copy of the original file and can be accessed even if the original file was removed. Again, I don't expect people to remember that, so I just put some notes down here about which one each one is. And then as you can tell too, it did save it, and then it also displayed the email as well. So, you know, it's kind of up to you how you might want to approach that, but this is another easy way in a sense where you can save files or, you know, kind of set up a system where it's like, oh, okay, well, if this file comes in or something along that nature, you know, you can kind of set up and say, okay, we'll save it here or save it there or things along that nature. That's kind of how I would like to think about it, at least. But with that being said, that actually concludes our video. So if you have any questions about kind of what we covered today, please put them down in the comments below. You know, I understand for some people this might be the first time they're working with Outlook. So I tried to go into detail on certain things, but I think other things we're just going to have a use case. It's going to kind of be hard to understand really why we would do it unless, you know, unless we kind of have a use case for it. So I'm going to kind of keep exploring of how we can leverage it, but hopefully this gives people at least some level of, you know, confidence to kind of go out there and start working at least with the mail item object. So definitely that was kind of the goal. Also, if you could, please make sure to like the video. We always appreciate the support. And if you're not already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel so that way you get regular updates as we release new items. So I think the next video, if I remember correctly, for VBA, at least Outlook VBA, would be calendar items. I think that was going to be the next one I was going to talk about. And then I was going to go through contacts and then notes. I think it's not notes or tasks, something like that. And then I was also going to go through, I think there was some more stuff I wanted to do with the folder stuff that I was going to show. So definitely some more coming up. So I think there's definitely an opportunity there to kind of automate some work, hopefully with some people. But yeah, we'll see you in the next video.